Hi guys, there's some things out in the garden that I wanted to share with you. So we are in Kentucky and we used to be 6B. I think they've changed us to zone 7 now. I think everything changed this past year. But anyways, we don't usually plant a garden until after the 1st of May or after Derby is what we say around here in Kentucky. And I've got mine going. I've got my tomatoes planted. They're still very small. My strawberries are producing good. My potatoes are jumped up. They're doing good. My green beans have sprouted. I just put them in the ground last week. Seeds. I start seeds. I've never been able to have good success with transplanting green beans. So I always start them in the ground. And as I do my squash, any of the squashes, pumpkin squashes, any of the melons, things like that. But this year, I haven't put out any lettuce seeds out here in the garden. And as you can see, where I had let it go to seed, it is all doing fairly good. And since we've had a couple of hot days, I do have some that planted itself in my garlic, and it is starting to bolt. But anywhere that I find lettuce growing, I just kind of mow around it and take my free food. Here's one of them here. I'm going to cut this one for my daughter tomorrow. There's one there. It just seeded itself and I went with it. But here's my tomatoes. And I have a nursing background. I'm a nurse. And I had some extra tube feed bags here. And I decided to make watering containers so that I could water the roots without getting the foliage wet. And I also do a ground cover of clover. It's taken me a few years to get a good crop of clover here, so where I can just mow in between the tomato plants or weed eat in between. But they are doing really good. And here you go, let's see it. So all I do on this is I fill this up, and it holds 1,000 milliliters. And I need to pick emblems off because it's not time. And it waters through a little tube straight into the ground. Quit, cat. And this is my first year trying it, so I don't know how successful it'll be. Seems like it would work though. Also, I have volunteer potato plants. So this guy here is doing beautiful. And it's just where I missed a potato when I dug them up one year. I don't even think I had potatoes here last year. I think it was the year before. So it went dormant for a little while. Let me show you my strawberries. There's my onions and my peas. I need to weed those. Look, I got tomato plants popping up throughout there. Probably cherry tomato plants. They are prolific. But here's my strawberries. And another lettuce plant. See, I just let it go. And then I'll come out and harvest it. I'll probably harvest it for my daughter tomorrow too. But I use this netting. It allows the bugs to go in, the pollinators to go in and pollinate my flowers, but it doesn't allow the birds to get them, or it scares them off, one or the other, whichever, I don't care, as long as it works. And then I also, look at that guy, oh, he's not ready, but he almost is. But I also put out, I stole these from my friend. She paints rocks for fun, and I put these out anywhere that I have strawberries that are not covered by the net, and that's been working. I've heard it worked. I heard that if you painted rocks red and stuck them in your strawberries, that the birds would leave them alone even when your strawberries came on and got ripe, because they have been used to going down there and pecking on a rock, so they just assume it's another rock. I don't know how smart they are, but it seems to be working. So the main thing I wanted to show you is how I use old grass as my mulch. And in between my beds, so I mow with a push mower, and It's got a bagger on it, and I just collect it, but you could also just rake it up and, you know, blow all your grass into a row and then rake it up. And then I just scatter it out. See, these are my green bean plants right there. And I just scatter this out. And this is fresh. I just did this, and I just thought about making this video just now. And then this will turn a brown color, and you will really be able to see your plants up in there. But it'll hold moisture, and it'll keep some of the weeds killed off. Here is an example of what I did previously. So this is my broccoli. This bed here is getting ready to get its nets. We have cabbage loopers really, really bad. And I'm trying not to use chemicals and things like that. But I hate harvesting broccoli or cabbage and finding those little green worms in there and wondering how many I miss. I mean, for real. So I'm going to put the net over here. Right now, nothing. Oh, no, I do got a couple. I do got a couple of holes. Hopefully that's just beetles. So I need to go ahead and do that this evening. But that's what these hoops are for. I get that white netting, this stuff that's over there on those raspberries. And I've got clips that go on to these. This is water hose is what this is. We got rebar in the ground and then water hose. And then we take the clips. They kind of look like they're hair clips, kind of, but they're smooth. They're not. They don't have the pokies. And it'll hold that net on here pretty good. You just want to keep that moth from getting in here and laying the eggs and putting that little worm in your food. But anyways, but this is what this is going to look like. And you keep it. You shag it out to where it dries pretty good, so that you don't get any mold or anything like that going on. Leave a little space around the base of your plants. But when it rains, it holds water really, really well. Or when you water it really, really deep and less often. And it really helps your vegetables and your garden stuff grow really well without fighting the dehydration, rehydration, you know, back and forth seesaw. That moth, I don't know if you can see it. See that white moth? That is the bandit that lays the eggs that gives the green worms. So we will be getting those nets on there this evening. But I've got this bed done as well. It's got some mulch in there. But it's also got some grass. You can see where the grass is, there's no weeds. Where there's just mulch, there's weeds. So I think the grass is doing a pretty good job. And every time that I cut the grass and I mow in between here, I'll collect it and I'll fill up a bed. Then the next time I collect it and fill up a different bed. If you have a riding mower with a bagger on it, that would be golden. Then you could just set you up a little station somewhere and collect, you know, mounds of it. Just keep it turned so it doesn't mold, and just like you do your compost or something like that. And then you can use it for that. And then it turns into compost. It keeps your soil loose so that your roots have an easier time growing and pushing through. Here in Kentucky, we have some topsoil, but we have a lot of clay, a lot of rock. So as it holds moisture, it's really hard for roots to work their way through that clay. If you're going to do carrots or turnips or anything that's under the ground, any kind of a root, potatoes, things like that, you really want to work your soil so that you're not putting them in clay, because then they'll mound upwards instead of mounding down. This is my lupine. Let me show you my lupine. Isn't that just gorgeous? This is a tea, but it also feeds the bees, and it's a very, very happy plant. It grew back from last year. Last year it was about a third of that size, and this year it's just beautiful. And that started out as one plant, and it's got the red and the pink and the purple and the dark purple. Oh, and look at them little fuzzies. They're pretty. Well, all right. So I guess that's about it. I hope you all are having a good time gardening, getting plenty of rain, not too much that you can't cut the grass though. So if y'all have any questions about anything that you've seen out here, or any questions about anything that I do, just put it in the comments and I'll be glad to answer. Thanks for watching.